And welcome back for another episode of NX Office Hours, where we talk about all things NX. We covered things in NX community and just talked about the ecosystem itself because we all are users and we love NX. We have a special episode today where we're going through the Nx Workshop preview, and I'm joined today by Isaac, who's been on
Hello.
on a few times, but you can go ahead and introduce yourself for the people who may be first time viewers.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm Isaac. I'm an architect at Nrwl. I help with the documentation on nx.dev, and I've helped give this workshop a few times now. So it's exciting. We have all new content this time at ng-conf though, so that's we'll be diving into some of that. And I also Raresh Matei, he helped. He did a lot of the work for setting up the repo and getting the curriculum together, and so he'll be leading it with me. So I don't want to take all the credit myself.
Yeah,
so if anything goes wrong, it's his fault. But.
There you go. All the credit, none of the blame, huh?
Right.
But yeah, I think both of you do egghead videos, right? So you're both
that's true.
Pretty well versed in the workshop and like workshop style material. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some good content there that we're going to at least get a preview of today. Yeah, so with that, if there are any people in the chat room, if you have questions while we're going through the preview, feel free to ask those. And we have a few questions that we may get to if we have time there. So I guess with that, we can go ahead and get into the preview of the workshop. But for those people that are new to NX and maybe new to Angular and maybe new to NX in general, you want to give the elevator pitch or the the high level view of what NX is?
Okay, so what NX is? NX.
Do it in your egghead voice too. Now,
okay.
Go ahead.
NX gives you gives you three big things. It gives you a So there are three big things they can give you. There's the executors, which allow you to run commands on different projects in your repo in a consistent way. So building and serving and doing whatever other commands you want to do. Then there are generators, which allow you to create or modify code. And so this allows you to like make workflows and things that are repeatable and consistent. And instead of having an 8-step README, 8-step workflow in your README, you can say, hey, just run this and enter in the prompts that it asks you, and then everyone does that workflow in a consistent way. The third thing it does is it helps you have a handle on your repo and make sure you understand what's going on. So the way NX does that is it helps you define separate projects inside of your repo and can maintain a consistent API between them. So they have each project, it can be a library or an application, defines its own API where you can say, hey, you're allowed to use this part of my project, but not these other internal pieces. And so it maintains that boundary. And also NX understands how those projects depend on each other. And because it understands that, it gives you a whole bunch of performance benefits and allows you to add more code to your repository without slowing down everything else. So if you have a giant repository with lots and lots of code, the more code you add without something like NX to help you manage it, the slower everything gets, because you have to run tests on everything in your application to make sure, in your code base, to make sure you didn't break something. Whereas NX, because NX knows the dependency graph, it can make sure that, you know, adding code that's unrelated to your actual application will not affect your application and won't like slow things down in CI and other places.
Right.
So that's the high level pitch.
Right, and that's generally, I guess, different than what you would normally see within, of course, an Angular CLI workspace, where you're kind of building, unless you've already broken things down into libraries, you're usually building like one app all together, and all the tests are there together, and so you almost have to run everything at any given point in time, so that you make sure that you're covered for everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this workshop is basically taking you from knowing nothing about NX up to being able to write your own executors and generators, which we have because we have the NX dev kit, and which is a different way of writing executors and generators than the Angular dev kit. Angular dev kit has builders and schematics, and so the equivalent of builder is an executor, and the equivalent of a schematic is a generator. So the NX dev kit, I think, is a simplified way of doing both those things. And I given if I'm going to write anything new, I'm going to write it in the NX dev kit, because I like the syntax better. But it has a compatibility layer so you can use, you know, code that was written with the Angular dev kit inside of the NX dev kit, and vice versa. So you can you don't have to throw away whatever work you've put into Angular dev kit schematics and builders.
Yeah, that's one thing I've been looking at, trying to write something up for, is using the NX dev kit to write an Angular schematic. Because usually it's the other way around. Usually we have Angular schematics that we're converting to dev kit generators, but it does work the other way around. You can write a dev kit generator and use that in, you know, an Angular schematic. So it's something been wanting to explore also, that I think would be good for the community there.
Yeah.
And you I'm not sure if you cover that something like that in the workshop or not, but
I don't know the function offhand, but I know there is one that does it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You first.
So I think I guess I can start off with a little demo of the application that we work on in the workshop, and then dig into some of the topics that we do.
Yeah, sure.
All right, I will share my screen. Let me.
And while you're doing that, I will get my screen share here also. Okay, there you go.
Let's see. Does that work?
Yes, there we go.
All right. So I am running this application, and
so there's an application. Well, I guess you'll get into that also, like what the name of the application is and everything that you'll be building through the workshop.
yes. Okay, so I forgot to launch the API. All right, so I'm just going to show the UI real quick here, and then I will, and then I'll show you the code. So this is the application that we'll be working with. It's a board game store called the Board Game Horde, and some fictional games with a list view and some detail view and some silly pictures. And that's basically it. So to make this all work, we have I will stop this. That. I'll show you what the dependency graph looks like to show all the different projects here.
All right, and as you mentioned before, the dependency graph gives, like I said, a visual way to see. Since Nx knows all your dependencies in your project, you can generate that at any given point in time, right?
Right. So Nx just analyzed the whole repo and figured out that these are the projects in the system here. So we have a store application, which is a client-side Angular app that references an API application that has the back-end game data. Mm-hmm. So it makes a network call to this API and loads up the game information and then shows what the API tells it to show. So this store and this API, they both use this interface here, which tells the store. They both use it to share what that API interface should look like, what the game model is, and if that ever changes, both the store and the API will have to change to, or there'll be TypeScript compile errors. So then store itself uses a couple libraries here. So it's got a lazy loaded game detail route here. That's what this dash line means. It's lazy loaded. And it has some formatter functions that are used by both the app, the store app, and the game detail library. Mm-hmm. So you can see, where those lines are between different pieces here. Store UI shared. Let's see, what is store UI shared? It's just we've got another application here, or another library here. So you can see here. So all of this is done in using generators to help us build this out in a consistent way. So we start off with a completely blank repo and just set it up with the bare bones NX repo running npx create NX workspace, and we use the empty preset, so nothing is magically done for you. Mm-hmm. And then we build up from there to add we'll add the Nrwl Angular plugin, yarn add. We'll add that, and then we'll create an application in here. So one of the really useful things to do when you're using generators is to use this NX console here. And so we'll go in here and we'll do generate an Angular application. We want Nrwl Angular application. And so, one of in the first or second, probably the second lab, we create this application. We call it store. That name's already exists, so I can call it store 2. And so we run through this, and we're slowly building up this repo, creating an application project, and getting to render and checking that it works. And then we create a component with the generators here. We'll do generate component.
Yeah,
so then you
throw that plug for NX console in there while you're demoing it there. If you're not using NX console and you're using NX, you should go ahead and install that extension in VS Code.
Yep,
definitely helps there.
Yeah, if you go here and search for NX console, show up here. This is the one. So the first 3 or 4 exercises in the workshop are basically revolving around using generators and then tweaking the code to make it look like our example that we ran through here. Yeah, and so then as we go through each step, we explain how, why we're doing that step, why it's helpful to, we create an application, and then we split out part of the code into a library. And we explain why you would want to do that and why it's useful to split your code out, and how you can use that to share your code between different applications, or to have a logically distinct set of code, so you can make a change to that library and just test what changed in that library, and not everything in the whole application.
So what are some of the reasons that you go through in the workshop as far as why you would choose to break things down into a library as opposed to just having, like I said, having them all in one app?
Yeah, that's a good. So basically, if we had, so let's look at this store. So the store application here has app component, which is basically this basically has the list view, and then in here, store, library, store, game detail. This one has just the game detail view. So basically, if you were to make a change to the top level list view, make a change up here, and you and everything was all in one application, then you would have to run the tests on, I think it'd be easiest actually if I showed the dependency graph. Nx dependency graph. Okay, so let's say we have we've got this store, and let's say we just had this, and we had just the store, and everything was inside the store. Maybe this shared API interface. If you made changes to any part of the store, then you would have to in order to make sure you didn't break anything, you'd have to run the unit tests on all of those tests that are in the store. Whereas if you break things out and you make the game detail code its own separate library, if you make changes up here to the store, you only need to rerun the test for the store part, not the test for the game detail part, because there's no possible way the game detail could be broken by changes made up here. So that's the idea. That's one benefit. There are also benefits to the NX. It has computation caching, so changes that you make to any test run that's done on the store, that if that store code has not been changed, that'll be cached. And if you make a change in the game detail and you run tests on it, if this code has not been changed, that run will be cached. But it's only cached at a project level, where so if all the code is stuck together in one application, that cache will be broken by any code change anywhere in that application. Whereas if you split things out more, your cache is less likely to be busted. You're less likely to actually have to rerun the tests. So that's the main reason to split things out. There are drawbacks to splitting things out. If you anytime you're breaking things out, there is a little bit of overhead. So if you have thousands of projects, every single file is its own library. There's going to be cost in trying to find where your code is and trying to say, okay, I now have to go look at 100 different projects to understand what's even happening. So there's a cost to that. And there's a little bit of overhead in, traversing all those libraries. So you have to
You got to balance
draw.
you got to balance the trade-offs of when you want to, or how granular you want your libraries to be versus if you want to kind of keep some things grouped together, because it just makes more sense to do that.
Yeah. So there's actually a section of our documentation here that goes into exactly this. So here, should I make a new library? Here are reasons why you would want to make a new library. And then here are reasons why you would not make a new library. You add to an existing library instead. So if you want to dig into that, it's basically an it depends. But if somebody gives you the it depends answer, then you need to ask, what does it actually depend on? And that's what this page is about. These are the things that the things you need to consider when you're making that choice. Cool. So one of the things that I'm really excited about for this go around of this workshop is that the two new things are the entire workshop is using ESLint instead of TSLint for the first time, which is great. James Henry and others did a lot of really good work to make that possible. So now the default when you create a new application is to use ESLint. When you run any of the generators, is to use ESLint. You can still opt into TSLint, but the default going forward is going to be ESLint. And so we'll be using that the whole time. And then also the other new thing is that we're using nxdev kit in all of the generators and executors rather than defaulting to the Angular dev kit.
Yeah, I just shared a link in the chat here that NX is what we consider, or NX is modern Angular. It's the title of the post, where we're using modern tools like ESLint and Cypress and other things like that to promote modern tooling when building Angular applications. So definitely check out that link if you haven't seen that. And it's good that we're actually going to use that in the workshop also to get people started off on the right track there.
Let's see. Mark is saying that you're super quiet, or maybe I'm super loud.
Let's see.
You sound fine to me, but maybe I'm just in presenter mode. And I know that, I know this about myself. When I'm in a Zoom call where it's just me and one other person, I speak at a normal volume. But if there are multiple people, even though it's exactly the same technology and I know they can hear me just fine, something inside of me is saying that I'm in a room and I need to project and.
Okay, I'll start yelling and you start whispering, and then we'll balance.
Let me speak a little quieter.
And I'll just start yelling. No. I think we'll see how it goes. See if the volume is okay there. I'll see if I can make small adjustments to see if that helps. But you sound fine to me, and you say I sound fine to you, so I think we're okay.
Okay, good. So the first day of the workshop is setting up this application. The second day we start digging into creating your own custom generators and creating your own custom executors, and then we dive into the CI/CD setting up. Using GitHub and deploying the client to I think we deploy it using Surge, which is just some static hosting, and then we deploy the backend to Heroku. And so by the end of your workshop, you have these two simple applications, but they're deployed out in the cloud and somebody could go to an actual URL that you create and run this application. So you're solving problems of how do you set up your environment variables so that the production is built for production, and then local dev is built for local. And so by the end of your workshop, you have everything you need to set up your organization's NX setup to do a simple version at least.
I saw a question recently. I think someone had submitted a question of how you go about deploying like your front end and your front end to some free service, and your front end Angular app to a free service, and then your back end Angular or back end services like Nest.js to like Heroku or something like that. So definitely some good information there, because I've gone through that exercise before also, of trying to deploy like you deploy your front end to Netlify and then your backend API to Heroku, and then having those two things talk to each other was an adventure. So
yeah. So I mean, there are lots of different ways to do it. There are probably as many different deploy pipelines as there are companies, but this is one way of doing it. So let's see, lab, which one is it? Run command. So lab 18 is deploying the front end. And so we set things up to use the surge CLI command. So this is all using environment variables to specify what to make sure the surge CLI has the authentication that needs to deploy. So you set things up like this, and then you create your own run command executor, which the run commands executor, I can pull that up, basically lets you run any CLI command, any like terminal command, using an NX executor, so you can leverage the caching and the control over your syntax that you get with any executor. Let me dig that up. Executors.
Yeah, I see we also have someone in the chat who is mentioning about deploying with GitHub and /Azure. Maybe we can touch on, if we have time, we'll touch on that later. And if not, we'll cover it in a future episode. But yeah, keep the questions and the comments coming if you have them, and we'll definitely collect those.
So this is the lab for setting up the front end deploy, and then the back end deployment is lab 19, and we use the Heroku CLI and using Docker. This is the part where Raresh takes over, because he has more expertise in this area than I do. But it's pretty neat the way he has it set up. So to run multiple commands in series here. So first copying things to the Docker file, then doing these Heroku commands and pushing things up to where they're supposed to be. And then the next one is, so lab 20 is the connecting piece of saying, okay, how do you make sure that the front end, when it's deployed, knows what URL to use for the back end when it's deployed, and have them actually use each other. But then also not mess up you don't want your local dev environment to use the production backend. So how do you make sure that that's set up the way it's supposed to be? So yeah, so I'm excited for that. That's always fun to see people. That's at the end of 2 days of learning, and people can be exhausted by that point. But it's people do get excited when they get there, like, oh yeah, this is really useful, and I really need to learn this information. Sometimes we get to like lab 20 and we're out of time, and they're like, okay, this is really good. We just need to stop because my brain is fried.
Yeah, I've done a couple of workshops also, and you definitely get to that point where you're like, this is a lot of good information. My brain is just full for today, and
yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back later and look at this when I have some more time to soak it all in, because you
Yeah.
definitely have to go through a good bit of material to try to cover the top parts.
Yeah.
So as far as generators go, can you walk through? Did you want to walk through kind of how you
Yeah.
go about building a generator,
Yeah. Let's do that. So the
or see
easiest
how we
way
have it there?
to make a generator is to run nx generate workspace generator. At Nrwl workspace. Why does it run like that? Well, we'll use NX console because I forget the command evidently. Nrwl workspace generator. I think I typed that right. Okay. Nrwl workspace generator. Okay, well, I don't know what, but I will call
correct.
this one. What's that?
No, I said it looks correct to me. So
Yeah, I don't know what's happened there, but that's all right. We will run it, and we'll say this one will say add license file.
are you doing
Let
that?
me just rerun.
Are you doing
We
that? I will
run
get a
yarn
link
here.
to our community Slack channel here, because someone had a question about how they get help if they get stuck.
Let's see.
I'll just paste that link in there. Not having as best of luck with Slack. Okay. If Mark, if you want to, sorry, just
Go ahead.
chat here.
Yep.
If you want to reach out to me afterwards, then we can have a chat and see where you're stuck there to try to get you unblocked there. So, you can see if you're on Twitter, you can send me a message there, and we'll kick off a conversation there.
So I think my my version numbers were out of sync a little bit here between
Okay.
Nrwl workspace and some others. So I'm just installing the latest version or the matching version. And then let's try this again. Hopefully that's what did it. Nope. Okay.
It's like, oh, you want to do a demo? Here, let me.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
I have something for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I don't have to do it in this repo. I can do it in a different repo. I will find one that is not broken.
To always be ready to pivot.
Yeah.
If you find another one, then we'll have to look at something else, or we'll have to spin up one from scratch if that would help. But I think we'll be okay. So yeah, just to talk about while you're getting that together, to just cover a little bit more about the generators, is like I said, a few highlights there is that it's using like native primitives. If you want to build generators using the Nrwl dev kit that you can build with there. Because traditionally, if you were familiar with the Angular CLI schematics, at the core of it, it's you use RxJS a lot to help you build out those schematics or builders in that way. and not there's you can definitely still leverage RxJS in Nrwl generators or DevKit generators also, but you also have the option of just using native promises and async await and functionality like that, if that's something that you're more comfortable with. And then if you need to do some more tasks that are maybe long running or long running over time, then you can use observables to kind of stream those events as they're happening.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So this, here's an example on the screen here of what a nxdev kit generator can look like. So this is a repo that I just created. So yarn, right. Sure, we'll let Angular one out. And so we should be able to make a workspace generator here. I'll add license file. There we go. That's working.
There we go. Yeah, so generators, like I said, generators can let you could do a few things with generators. If you just want to have some files standardized on some files that you want to generate, or also like modifying things about your files up in your workspace, you can also do that. Or setting up initial configuration, those are all things that you can do with you basically do anything you want with generators as far as updating or changing files or creating files, even for that matter.
So let's see. So in an nxdev kit generator, you've got two main files here. The schema.json that describes what the inputs are, what variables people enter in to decide what the generator is going to do. In this case, we'll leave it as just inputting the library name. And what we're going to do is we'll write a generator here that will just add a license file to the library that's passed in with name here. So the format of an nxdev kit generator is like this. You've got an async function, and then you can do whatever you want in here. And then you'll return you can return a function here, and then inside of that function, basically it's just a callback function. And inside this function, you put anything that you need to be executed after the actual files are created on disk. And this task is running npm install or yarn. And that obviously npm and yarn don't understand this this tree, like what is it called? Like a mock file system here. So every function in here is going to be operating on the mock file system, and then that gets written out and applied to the real file system. And then npm and yarn, they need to use the real file system to do whatever they're going to do to install files. So in our case, we don't actually need to run npm install, so we could just return undefined here, because we don't care what happens afterwards. But so let's see. So what this is doing is this is calling the library generator and passing in a name here. So I guess we could just start things off. We could do number, just say modified. So whatever name you pass in, it's going to create a library and add modified to the name you pass in. So if we ran that, nx generate, nx workspace generator, add license file, and then my library. And what that should do is it will create create my library modified, because we just added that string to the name and then pass that in. So this is great for if you want to use the generators that already exist, but you want to restrict the options that are available. To say you want to always use SCSS, or you want to always specify a certain set of tags for a library, or any number of other things. Or you have like 4 or 5 different directories you want them to choose from where things can go, and you don't want people to choose anything else. So you can say, these are the options that we want. And so don't use the default generators, just use our own organization specific ones, and it will help you make the right choices. So that's what this is really useful for. And then you can you could string things together here. You could do, you can make a library and then also make a component. Let's see if we can find, see. So if we don't want to use the workspace, say we want to use Angular generators. Let's see, does that exist?
Yeah, I think you had yeah, there you go.
That works. And let's see if there is a component generator in here. Okay, I think the component generator is in Angular schematics. Angular.
Probably Angular dev kit.
Yeah, I think I didn't. I don't think they've actually been installed yet.
Okay.
Yeah, they have not been installed.
Yeah, that is one thing to note there. If you started with an empty workspace and you added the Nrwl Angular package, and you're using the Nx CLI there, which has a lot of the features that the Angular CLI has, with some additional extras, such as computation caching built in, and being able to determine the affected projects there, and other features there that kind of enhance the experience when you're using an Nx workspace. So if you're using an Nx workspace, you should definitely be using the Nx CLI also.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever that shows up, we'll be able to run import from Angular. There we go. There are some things. Let's see. So where is the? Well, we can find it over here.
Maybe it's under schematics Angular.
At schematics / Angular. There it is.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier,
Angular.
There's that compatibility there that you can use to
right
with the Nx or Nrwl dev kit and the Angular dev kit to generate.
Yes. Things. Okay. So yeah. So I think we have to. We have
maybe
use this.
Maybe
run
use the library generator in the
generate. Where is it? Convert. So convert NX generator, that takes an existing NX generator and converts it into an Angular dev kit, so it can be run inside of Angular dev kit. But we want the other way, and let's see if I can find it. Schematic. Why is it not in here? Maybe it is under. Do you think it might be under Nrwl workspace?
You just want to use the component schematic?
Yeah, I want to use the.
Well, I think maybe able to use. Well, I guess library generator would be for dev kit generators, right?
Yes. So run executor does that. Executor. Okay, well, I will put that in just a bit.
Yeah, but I think at least where I think you're going is that you can combine these generators. You can combine like multiple generators together to like
Right.
produce a standard structure
Yeah.
that you want your developers to use. Standard structure and practice that you want your developers to use when they need to add a new feature or generate a new library.
So let's do here. We can do it this way. I can find the function for the Angular dev kit generators, but we can do this. And then, so the ngx generator is an Nx dev kit generator. So you can run it just like that. And then you pass in whatever options it needs. So you can create your library and then run some other generator on it afterwards. You'd have to look in here to see what it is looking for. What does it want? So the schema is looking for a name and some other options in here. You can see what each of those things do, but we'll just pass in name schema.name, and we can get rid of that. Anyway, so you can stack these generators on top of each other and have them execute your 7-step process in code here. Then let me see if I can find write file. Where is it? Is it host dot? There we go. Host dot write. So you can also do, you create your own files here. Host.write, and then you give it the path, and you give it some content. And let's see, how are we going to find that path? So what we're going to do is going to look at the library name that's passed in here, and we can do read. Let's see, do you want read project configuration or workspace configuration? I think we want read project configuration. I think that's more specific. Post, and then give it a project name, schema.name. And then, there we go.
Still operating on the mock or virtual file system at this point, right?
Right, yeah. So here we can say our path, source path, I'll call this library source path is this. So we get the source root here from the workspace.json of, so this path here, the /source path, and then we'll make our path here be the library source path, and then we're gonna do / license.txt, get rid of that, and then this is my license. So you can do that. You can also, there's also a way to use a template file, but but we'll leave this as a static string for now. There's a way to make it be to create a custom file here and have, license.txt, and then stamp it out with the, I guess one way you could do it is just do well, there are lots of different ways you can do it, but so you can make your own license.txt file and then stamp it out with inside of your generator like this.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, anything you can do in your Angular dev kit schematics, you can also do in NX dev kit. But there's no, I haven't felt the need to use RxJS here because this is pretty straightforward, pretty linear flow, and if it fails, it'll the whole thing will fail, and then I'll change the inputs and try it again. So there's no complex like error logic in here.
Right.
Where RxJS would be useful.
If you have more, you can take advantage of the debugging also because you have less of a stack trace to look through also. Right.
So you could put your debugger in here. And let's see, what if I wrote this? If I run this, I'm going to open the debug console. Is that it? No, I don't think it's debug console. I want to do a new, where is it? John showed me this the other day, and I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
there's a debug terminal that you can open up. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's debug console, but I'll try it. So you do NX. Nope, that's not it.
Yeah, shout out to John who works
debug
on NX console also. That it helps everyone with their debug IDE debugging needs.
There we go. Create JavaScript debug terminal. Okay. And now we do NX workspace generator. And what is it called? Add license file. And we have to give it a name. Come on, test. Debugger's attached. It's running it. So it failed before it even got there. So let me see if let me move my debugger up higher.
Yeah, it's probably the NGRX generator is probably asking for some more information.
Yeah, probably.
Still waiting there.
There we go. So it hit my debug point here, and now I can step over and step into the NGRX generator and see what is. Let's see.
Dive into the land of async await.
Yeah, there we go. Wrap Angular Dev Kit schematic. That's the name of the function I was looking for before.
Ah, there you go.
And that is inside of Nrwl tau. Interesting. Okay, so then you can dig into this. And yes. Yeah, so anyway, we can figure out what's wrong there. But the fact that you can have a debugger there and you can easily figure out what's going on is very useful. Because there's, as soon as you go into this world of automating things, you find edge cases that you didn't think of, and yeah.
And of course, when you're trying to automate all the boring stuff, as they say. Then people want you to automate more things.
Right.
Just like automate all the things that we have to produce for a given feature. So it just kind of builds on itself. Then you build up your own infrastructure there.
The way I did that is I did JavaScript debug terminal, Command-Shift-P JavaScript debug terminal. That's a little mental note for myself. Next time I forget. I'll come back and watch this.
Use that also in the future one. Well, cool. But yeah, those are nxdev kit generators. Like I said, you'll cover those in the workshop in addition to
Yep.
executors. Which executor? I guess we only have a few minutes left, so if you want to give the high level.
Yeah, I
for
could do
executor.
a quick little exec. So the simplest kind of modification you can make to an executor is to do a run commands executor. So let's say I want to do I don't know cow say executor, and then I'm gonna do npx cow say hi, and then project name. What project should I stick this on? I don't know what projects I have in this. My library modified, okay. Junk names in here. And you can set a bunch of other things on here. So I run this, and what this is a generator that creates a run commands setup inside of my workspace JSON. So in here, if I can find the cow say, so here we go. So this added this setting inside of my workspace.json. So now if I run, I can do nx run my library modified cow say. Well, I'm doing it in the debug terminal. But what it did is it ran this script, pulled this down from npm, and then said hi. So
that's what you should be doing with executors for sure.
Yes, that's well, and then I can run that again. This is very important. I can do nx run. What was it? My library. It's going to take me longer to type this out than it will to execute it, but okay. I run it again, and that did not get cached. Why did that not get cached? Oh, maybe I don't have.
Oh, maybe not.
I don't have caching turned on. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say it's
command. Yeah.
It would be hilarious to be caching this cowsay output.
Hey, let's throw it in there real quick. Let's see it. And because I know I think what we were looking for in the NX JSON is that we have you have your standard set of cached command or cached.
Yes, that's right.
Operations, right?
Cacheable operations. So I need to add cowsay to my cacheable operations here.
We have to make this. We have to do it.
Yeah, we need the fastest cow ASCII art that you can possibly have. Okay, so that took 1.5 seconds, and that took much less than that.
Right,
existing outputs match the cache, left as is. So it used the cache instead of running that again. So there you go.
Yes.
I saw a GIF on, or it was just an image on Twitter the other day. It was showing the aerodynamics of a cow. So this is a very aerodynamic cow that shows up very quickly to say whatever you needed to say.
Of course, and we needed the aerodynamic cow and the cached cowsay to be complete here. So
yeah,
we should have used that for the. For the schematic, you just write out your README file with a cowsay and the name of the library. But that'll be for another time.
Let's see. Somebody was saying that how to write cowsay should be in the docs. So some of this is they do less silly stuff, but this is here's some docs on how to run commands and using compodoc instead of cowsay, but. Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, I think on that we will wrap up for today. Thanks, Isaac, for the preview of the NX Workshop. There's lots of good information there. So
you're welcome.
If you haven't, for those who haven't signed up for the workshop already, there's still time for that. You'll be entertained by Isaac and Raresh. So definitely some time there, or even if you want to just check out this recording afterwards and see what you can do with generators and executors with the Nrwl dev kit. Raresh isn't on, but I will share his Twitter handle if you want to follow him on Twitter there. Oh, that's some fancy writing, but
that's a double underscore, I think.
Yeah, should be 2 underscores and then Raresh after that. And Isaac is Isaac on Twitter, and I am Brandon T. Roberts on Twitter. And while you're following, all of us Narwhalians on Twitter, you should go ahead and follow the nxdev tools account where we post interesting things there that you can use for NX, or interesting tips about NX and help people in the community there. So with that, we did see some questions or comments in the chat, and we'll collect those and hopefully follow up on those in a future episode of NX Office Hours. So with that, we will see everyone next time. See ya.
All right. Thanks.